Hello everybody. So right now I'm on top of my hotel. It's called Funduk Midan, which means field hotel if you translate it. It's a pretty cool view of, you can't see the whole city of Muscat, but because Muscat's really stretched out, but here's the part we can see. It's kind of humid. There's some mountains in the background. I'm not sure if you can see them. And then way in the distance out there is the ocean. You can see that from our room. It's pretty cool. So I've been here in Muscat for over 2 weeks now. Everything's going great. So today is Thursday, which is like the equivalent of our Saturday because our weekend is Thursday, Friday. So everything's becoming routine now. Every day we go to class 8:30 in the morning. We take a bus there, like a little bus, and we're there until 5 p.m. and come back. Classes are going very well. There's 3 different classes. There's the Fusha, which is like Modern Standard Arabic, like I mentioned in the previous blog. Amia, which is Omani Arabic, and then we have to take a media Arabic class, which is the hardest one because it's all completely new vocabulary, and we're learning to be able to read news articles and watch the news and understand it. And it's interesting because a lot of the vocabulary is recurring, so once we memorize the word for negotiations, talks, president, leader, you'll hear it over and over again, so it becomes easier and easier as time goes on. But right now, we just started it last week and it's hard. As you can see, I'm not wearing traditional Western clothing. I'm wearing a dish dasha, which is a typical clothing men wear. You can see all of it. And the hat is called a kemma. So most of the guys in the program, we're wearing them when we go out on excursions and stuff. Today we went to a town called Nakhal through the CLS program, a little field trip. It's about an hour outside of Muscat. They're famous for growing dates there. There's a ton of date trees, which are just like big palm trees. And we went to a helwa factory, and helwa is like a traditional sweet that they make here in Oman. They use rose water when they make it, which is like perfume, so it tastes a little funky because it feels like you're eating perfume, but a lot of people like it. It's alright, I can get it down. So one of the cool aspects of the program is that we all have peer facilitators, which are kind of like conversation partners, and they're Omanis who help us like get adjusted to culture here, and they're only allowed to speak to Arabic with us, so it's a really good practice. And every day we meet with them for 2 hours at the end of the day. And it's cool because it's like getting a little view of Omani culture from an Omani perspective. Now the only thing that's a little bit difficult is that it's at the very end of the day, so we're all totally exhausted from sitting through hours of intensive Arabic classes. So we're pooped, but it's still good practice. Let me see. Again, cheat sheet. Last night, my roommate and I got to go to the beach. That was about a 10-minute drive from our hotel with some Indians we met here in Muscat, and we got to see the lunar eclipse from there, which was really awesome. We stayed out pretty late, got back at like 2 a.m. So today, waking up for the field trip was a little rough, but and it was cool because the bunch of people from our CLS group went to the Grand Mosque, which is the biggest mosque in Muscat. It's one of the biggest mosques in the world because they had a lecture about astronomy. And we were watching Al Jazeera today, like the Arab world's news, one of their main channels for news. And some of the people in our program got on Al Jazeera because that event was featured on today's news. And right now I'd like to talk a little bit about cultural differences that I've noticed since coming to Oman. There's quite a few. This is the most different place I've been to in my travels so far. First of all, dress. It's very different from Western, obviously. Like you'll see, if there's all Omanis, for the most part, 99% of them will wear what I'm wearing right now. At work, school, anywhere, unless they're playing soccer, then they'll wear shorts. But other than that, they're completely covered. Arms are covered, legs are covered. For girls, it's even more strict. If you go out in a public place, it's more appropriate to wear a hijab. But the cool thing is that Omanis are very accepting people, and and they understand that we are Westerners, so I don't want to say we get away with it, but if they see, you know, a Westerner in a pair of shorts, they're not going to say anything. They won't get in trouble. But the program makes us dress humbly, and I think it's a good idea because it allows if we ever meet any Omanis, it breaks a barrier that wouldn't be there otherwise. There's also a big gender divide. Guys, it's not appropriate for a man just to walk up to a woman and start talking to her or even make eye contact with her, unless you study with her or go to school with her or whatnot. But even then, guys usually only associate with guys and girls only with girls. And it's cool because this week we had a little cultural lesson about marriage in Oman, and from what I gather from the whole process is it's more of a union between two families rather than two individuals. So instead of the male asking the woman to marry, like is typical in Western societies, the male actually goes to ask the bride's family, or the to-be bride's family, and there's a significant dowry that he has to pay. Usually it's more than $5,000 usually, and that goes to the bride and her family. And before the final decision's made, both families meet together to discuss it, and usually there's some terms and conditions that have to be followed. Like, for example, if the girl wants to study abroad in the States, the husband has to let her, so on and so forth. And another really interesting thing is the differences between what is appropriate ways of expressing anger here. Now, not to say like in America we get really angry with everything, but like, for example, if we were on a street and somebody was yelling at somebody else, you wouldn't get arrested for simply yelling at somebody. But here, it's actually considered verbal assault, or like yelling at somebody in public is considered the same thing as physical assault. So there has been problems with Westerners here who've gotten carried away, and because it's not something that's considered illegal, you know, in their home countries, and they'll actually get arrested here and put in jail and be tried at an Omani court, which I thought was really interesting. But yeah, so this coming week, as normal, we're having classes still. Tomorrow is like our Sunday. It's Friday, so one more day of the weekend. I'll probably be going to the beach. That's what I hope to do. Play some soccer. Next week, the guys in our class are going to go play soccer with our Omani teachers, which should be a lot of fun. I'm really excited about that. And like I said before in other vlogs, it's really hot here. I would say right now it's at least 100 degrees, probably 105, maybe 110, but that's actually not that bad compared to 120, 130. So I'm getting used to it slowly but surely. It's humid today, but not as humid as other days. I think I'm going to be coming back to the States in August and feel like it's going to be nice weather. It's probably going to be in the 90s, but not as bad as here. But yep, that's all about I have to say for now. So stay tuned for my next vlog next week. So ma salama.